वायुपुत्राय वज्रंगबली पंचवक्त्राय महाकाय ओम नमो आंजनेयाय। संकटमोचन महाबलाय वायुपुत्राय वज्रंगबली पंचवक्त्राय महाकाय ओम नमो आंजनेयाय। Gently close your eyes. Do deep breathing. We'll chant Om once together. Synchronize the chanting of Om with your exhalation. Breathe in. Sahana vavatu sahanau bhunaktu sahaviryam karavavahai tejasvinavaditamastu ma vitvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Gently open your eyes. We'll chant from verses 11 to 15 of chapter 3. Devan bhavayatanena
Devan bhavayatanena
Te deva bhavayantu vaha
Te deva bhavayantu vaha
Parasparam bhavayantaha
Parasparam bhavayantaha
Shreyah paramavapsyatha
Shreyah paramavapsyatha
Ishtan bhogan hi vo devaha
Ishtan bhogan hi vo devaha
Dasyante yajna bhavitaha
Dasyante yajna bhavitaha
Taidat तैर्दत्तानप्रदायैभ्यः
तैर्दत्तानप्रदायैभ्यः
यो भुङ्क्तेस्तेन एव सः
यो भुङ्क्तेस्तेन एव सः
यज्ञशिष्टाशिनः सन्तः
यज्ञशिष्टाशिनः सन्तः
मुच्यन्ते सर्वकिल्बिषैः
मुच्यन्ते सर्वकिल्बिषैः
भुञ्जते ते त्वघं पापाः
भुञ्जते ते त्वघं पापाः
ये पचन्त्यात्मकारणात्
ये पचन्त्यात्मकारणात्
अन्नाद्भवन्ति भूतानि
अन्नाद्भवन्ति भूतानि
पर्जन्यादन्नसम्भवः
पर्जन्यादन्नसम्भवः
यज्ञाद्भवति पर्जन्यः
यज्ञाद्भवति पर्जन्यः
यज्ञः कर्मसमुद्भवः
यज्ञः कर्मसमुद्भवः
कर्म ब्रह्मोद्भवं विद्धि
कर्म ब्रह्मोद्भवं विद्धि
ब्रह्माक्षरसमुद्भवम्
ब्रह्माक्षरसमुद्भवम्
तस्मात् सर्वगतं ब्रह्म
तस्मात् सर्वगतं ब्रह्म
नित्यं यज्ञे प्रतिष्ठितम्
नित्यं यज्ञे प्रतिष्ठितम्
Hari Om, and a very good day to all of you. So in the last session, we were seeing this principle of parasparam. Parasparam is based on the fundamental principle of exchange of energy. Life can sustain only when there is an exchange of energy. Every aspect of life is based on that only. So our great masters recognize that. So having recognized, having understood the natural law of life, they are giving out that principle and they are saying, now you follow that. Because if you are one with the natural laws of life, you will be at ease. There will be a natural flow in your life. When you try to go against the natural laws of life, either consciously or ignorantly, it doesn't matter. Just because you're ignorant of something doesn't mean you will not face the repercussions or the consequences of that. Ignorantly, you put your finger in fire, it will still burn you. So whether you know about it or not, when you act against the fundamental laws of nature, then you will start having friction in your life. When you are driving your car, supposing the road is not properly laid, there will be a lot of friction. Let's say there is no road. It's all full of stones and thorns and ups and downs. Now you'll find it very difficult to drive the car there. And every time you drive, there will be so much of ups and downs. It will create a lot of friction, lot of trouble. So when the same place is made smooth, when a nice road is laid, and then when you drive the car, your journey is smooth. It's the same thing with life itself. When you don't conform to the natural laws of life, it's like driving your car on a rugged road or a road where there is no road, just full of stones and pits. So your life will be full of stress, friction. That's what we are calling as friction. Friction means every little thing will start causing stress for you. Many a times, a person has so many things, wonderful things, in terms of wealth, in terms of relationships, in terms of all aspects. Still, that person is highly stressed. So you should think about it. Why is that? Throughout your life, you will go through this friction or strain if you don't understand the simple fact that there are natural laws governing this universe, and I need to conform my life to those natural laws. That is, I need to lead my life in accordance with those natural laws. Then I will start minimizing the friction. So when we talk of the law of energy of exchange, that's a very fundamental law or principle, we can say, based on which the universe is functioning. So when he is giving the sadhana of parasparam, now that sadhana is based on this fundamental principle or law of exchange of energy. So then your life will become very smooth. Wherever that exchange of energy is blocked, either there is no exchange of energy or there is only one-sided flow of energy, the other side is blocked, that is where all the friction will happen. You see, you take any relationship also. If one person is doing something for the other person and the other person is not reciprocating at all, how will that relationship survive? So, based on this parasparam, last week I had mentioned to you, paraha means other. Paraha also means the highest, which is nothing but God or divinity or infinity. Now, first you start thinking about the welfare of others, that is yourself and others. And then you move on to the higher state where you start seeing divinity in everyone. Everyone means yourself and others. That is a very advanced stage of parasparam. So based on this, we can classify the spiritual growth, the spiritual evolution into three parts, three stages we can say. Selfishness is stage number one. Then stage number two is unselfishness. That is where the parasparam starts, where the meaning of para is other. And then stage 3 is selflessness, which is where the second meaning of para comes. That is seeing divinity in everything. So we can classify the spiritual evolution into these three categories. So the first category is selfishness. Whenever a person thinks of only himself or herself, that is, that person's philosophy is only me, that is classified as selfishness. If you think about your welfare, it is not selfishness. But if you think about your welfare with this attitude that it is only me, I don't care about anyone else. Rather, if others are harmed also, I don't bother. Now, that is further selfishness. See, within these three categories, there will be varying degrees. Some people positively wanting to harm others, that is very selfish, extremely selfish. The intensity of selfishness is very high. Some people, they are not so much, they are not having the intention of actually harming others, but they are not bothered also. That is also selfishness only. That is a certain degree of selfishness. So within each of this category, the degree will vary. So whenever you want to fulfill your desires, whenever you want something at the cost of another person, or saying that I'm only bothered about myself, I'm not bothered about anybody else, all these things are manifestations of selfishness. Now, nature is not designed that way. You see, if the trees start thinking in terms of in a selfish way, in terms of, let me take but I will not give anything, what will happen to this world? Have you ever thought about it? The nature functions so beautifully, and that contributes to the totality, to our existence also. If the sun doesn't give out heat, light and all that for one day, life will become extinct within a short while. So, this is the lowest stage in spirituality, when a person is selfish. Now, the mistake which people make, that is, there is a misunderstanding of this word selfishness. They think the moment they have a desire, it is selfish. No. Nowhere in the scriptures it is said that. No master has said like that. If somebody says like that, that person doesn't know the fundamentals of what life is. A person who has studied life, a person who has gone into the depth, will understand things in a total way. So whenever you want to harm others, that is selfishness, because you are not caring about the other person. Harming can be in any way. It can be in an actual physical way, or it can be through words when you are harsh with someone, or it can be even emotions. Whenever you have an emotion of hatred towards someone, that is the starting point of harming, no? Or thought level also. Different grades are there, but all are different levels of harming only. Even talking ill of others at the speech level, which commonly is called as character assassination. So that is one level of selfishness. And then slightly higher than that is, you are not actually harming, but you are kind of not bothered. As long as I get whatever I have to get, that's it, over. I am really not bothered about anybody else. So that is also one grade of selfishness only. It's better than harming. Still, you are thinking of only you. That's why we are defining selfishness as whenever your philosophy is I, me, myself only. That word only is very important. Because if you understand selfishness as whenever I want something, now that is selfishness, then you can't do anything in life. If you are hungry and if you say, okay, let me eat food, is that selfishness? You feel like sleeping, you have to give your body that necessary sleep. No? Oh, how selfish you are. You're only thinking about yourself. We can't define it like that. So our yogis were very practical. So only me means selfishness. So you need to find out in your different aspects of life what is the attitude which you're having. We'll see selfishness, unselfishness and selflessness in brief, and then I will also give you that homework. Now itself I'm telling you, using this you need to examine, do some self-examination about your attitudes. Then higher than selfishness is unselfishness. That is the starting point of parasparam sadhana, where you start thinking about the welfare of yourself and others, me and others. So let me take care of myself and let me also help others. Let me serve others. That attitude is a sign of spiritual evolution. Just imagine in a society, you forget about selflessness. If everyone just they become unselfish, which means they take care of themselves and they also think in terms of welfare of others. Now that society will prosper. Of course, if a society is based on selflessness, it will be like heaven. So how do we say taking care of oneself is unselfishness? This doubt may come in your mind, We understand when we think of others' welfare, there is unselfishness. But if I think of my welfare, how is it unselfishness? Very simple. Only if you take care of yourself, you can sustain any activity of seva or helping others and all that. So taking care of yourself is maintenance activity. See, in any field, you will have maintenance and growth. If the basic maintenance is not done, then how can you use that machine for further higher purposes? That is why our Siddhas said, if your body is like a temple. It's a temple wherein God is residing. So take care of your body well, all that. So self-care is not selfishness. Self-care means at all levels, at the physical level, at the emotional level. Supposing you are in a relationship with someone and that person is dominating and you are suffering because of that. Now here, to basically assert yourself and say, no, respect has to be mutual. If I respect you, if you want respect from me, you also respect me as an individual. To speak up for oneself and say that, I'm not saying one should fight, you can say it even normally. That is not selfishness, that is self-care. So self-care, you have to take care of yourself emotionally also. If you are emotionally weak, if you are emotionally troubled, how can you think about the welfare of others? It is only a person who is basically stable, who can start thinking in terms of welfare of others. That is why our yogis say, Atma Shuddhi, purify yourself, take care of yourself. That is a part of taking care of yourself. So, if you neglect yourself, what will happen is, number one, you will not be able to sustain your so-called seva and all that, or even doing duties towards others, you will not be able to sustain after a while. You will get more and more frustrated. So when we talk of duties, you have duty towards yourself and others. You are the instrument, you are the machine, as it were. In this example I'm saying. So maintenance is very important. Number two, if you don't exercise self-care, what will happen is you will become a liability to society after a while. A person who does not take care of himself or herself, now he will become dependent on others for every little thing. A classic example is, if you take a person who is extremely addicted to alcohol or smoking or drugs, now that person is neglecting his welfare. There is no concept of self-care at all. After a while, what happens to such people? Have you observed? They become very dependent on others for their very existence. After a while, their only thought will be, I just require that, whatever, how much ever they're drinking, that alcohol, or I just require that puff. For that, I'm prepared to do anything. I'll be prepared to lie, I'll be prepared to cheat others. Everything that person will be prepared to do. It can lead to a very dangerous situation. So why is it that our yogis are saying develop healthy habits, develop good habits, good in the sense of what is beneficial to you physically, and develop good emotions? First is self-care. You take care of yourself. Then your capacity to take care of others will also increase. So unselfishness is me and others. Selfishness is only me. I'm just not bothered about others. An extension of that is harming others, That is a further degradation. Extreme selfishness. So within unselfishness also there will be grades. See, the principle wise we are defining it as selfishness, unselfishness, selflessness. But practically the dividing line is very thin. It's like an adjectival phrase. It's like, like when a person is good or bad, you cannot define and brand a person like that. There will be goodness, there will be badness. It will always be a mix. So that's how you will experience these aspects within you, all the three aspects within you in different percentages. So when it comes to selfishness, that person is interested in only taking. We'll be seeing that in the next verse. Next two verses is going to talk about parasparam, expand it as much as possible and make it very practical for you. A person who is moved to unselfishness will think of himself and others, give and take. Now, that is one level. Then comes the third level, third stage of spiritual evolution. That is selflessness. Selflessness literally means absence of self. Absence of self means here we are talking about the little self. See, this is just for easy understanding and no need to take it very literally. If you use the small s and say self, that can be your little self. If you use a capital S, you can say your bigger self. Bigger self means higher self, lower self and higher self. Actually, there is nothing like lower self, higher self. This division we are making just to understand this fully. So what do we mean by self here? Self means your consciousness. So when your consciousness becomes lower and lower, it takes the form of ego. ahankara. That aham, that I gets conditioned. See, if you see from the highest level, there is no conditioning, nothing. We are not talking from that level. This is one step below. You have to understand the context in which we are seeing this. So, selflessness means functioning in life without ego. That is the actual meaning. So, when we take unselfishness, thinking about the welfare of myself and thinking about the welfare of others. But when you keep on functioning in an unselfish way, as you spiritually evolve, your perception about life will become very mature. A time would come where you will begin to see, you will begin to understand that you are nobody to think about the welfare of anyone. Nothing is really under your control. There is a higher law which is functioning. All the time, that law is taking care of everything. So, who am I to give or take? So, you detach your ego from the act of giving or taking. See, the exchange of energy, giving and taking, will still continue. The unselfishness will still continue, but now you will do the same thing without any ego. You will start seeing everything as a play of divinity. You will start seeing the infinite. You will start seeing the manifestation of infinite in every aspect of life. That is selflessness. So even in unselfishness, there is some ego. Ego of taking, ego of giving will be there. Oh, I am thinking of the welfare of others. In selflessness, I am nobody to think of anybody's welfare. I will just do whatever, play my role. Wishing is different. See, that's what you need to understand this very, very carefully. In unselfishness, it's no doubt higher than selfishness, but still there is that ego. You feel you are in control. But in selflessness, you understand the real truths of life. And that is, you are actually not controlling anything. You are a part of this total system. So, you get into this attitude, I am a spoke in the wheel of life. All the great masters, all great yogis, they functioned in the spirit only. That is why when you go to a yogi and say, "Sir, thank you so much, you have given so much of healing, you have given so much of blessing." Now he will say, "It's all His grace, it's all the grace of God." Why does he say that? See, whether he says it verbally or not, that's how he'll feel. Because he genuinely doesn't have this kartrutva bhavana, I am the doer attitude. So detaching your ego, the little self, from your actions, that is selflessness. And the moment you do that, then there is a full free flow of divine energy in your life. So that is why there is a charm, there is a grace in whatever a yogi does, because he will do it in a divine way. Now, most people misunderstand this word selflessness. They think selflessness means you should torture yourself and you should think about the welfare of others. See, you are also a creation of God only. You are also a part of this creation, a part of this system. If you can't even take care of yourself, how can you take care of others? So then what is seva? We will see all that as we go along. But I want you to understand this in a deep way, but at the same time in a practical way also. See, that is what is true wisdom. The spiritual wisdom is not just talking high things and doing something else. You should understand every principle in the deepest possible way, and at the same time you should also be very practical about it. The practical wisdom is also so important. So whatever is being given to you here is the original message of the Vedas, the original principles of Sanatana Dharma. Sanatana Dharma is nothing but eternal principles of life. So if you take the entire nature, nature functions without ego. You see, the trees are giving shade, the flowers are blooming, the plants give out, the trees give out fruits, the sun is shining, the nightingale is singing, the peacock is dancing, the butterflies are flying, the river is flowing. Now, it is all done without any ego. There is a beautiful flow of divine energy in nature. That's why when you go to a place where nature is prominent, like you go to a hill station or you go to some forest area, you go to the mountains, or if nothing else, if you just go to the terrace of your home, the moment you get exposed to nature, that fills you with so much of peace, that inspires you, that uplifts you, that energizes you. Why? Because it is that selfless energy which hits you. Whether you recognize it, whether you call it as selflessness or not, that doesn't matter. But that does hit you and you receive it. So if a person says, I don't believe in God, now even that person, when you take him to nature, now he will get inspired. That is only God. The manifestation of God. No? So some people say, I don't believe in God. I only believe in nature. You are just using another word. That's all. So selflessness is that state of inspiration where you recognize the play of divinity in every little experience of your life. That is the highest yajna. When you are at the stage of selfishness, you are really not doing any yajna. You are going against the natural laws of life. A selfish person will be stressed, will have to suffer. Sometimes if you find a selfish person prospering, that is not because of that person's selfishness. There are other things which he has done, which is what has given him that whatever prosperity or whatever it is that person has been given. An unselfish person will be very practical in life because he is taking care of himself and others. That is why even in Tamil there is a beautiful word, Thanakku minjiye dharmam. Means, there the word dharmam means charity. Charity is after you take care of your needs only. If you give away everything, then you will lose the very capacity to do charity. That is the principle of parasparam they are talking about. So when you get into the spirit of unselfishness, there also there are different grades. We will be seeing that in the coming verses. Sometimes this exchange of energy, you may do it like a business-like attitude, That is not real unselfishness. that is the lowest stage, but it's still not selfishness. At least you are being very clear, whatever I give, whatever I take, I am giving back. But business-like attitude, that is a rajasic attitude. But as you do it with more and more bhavana, you start moving towards sattva. That is where the yajna starts, where there is an exchange of energy. But when does your sadhana of yajna become full? When you get into the state of selflessness. A person who has ego cannot do yajna. So when you are selfish, your ego is maximum. Whole, it's self-centeredness. Selfishness leads to self-centeredness. Entire focus is only on me. I, me, myself, nothing more. When you are unselfish, the ego has become refined. Ego is reduced, but it's not fully gone. You still have the ego that I am taking care of myself, I am giving, I am taking care of others. That ego is there. But in selflessness, the ego is dissolved. I am neither taking nor giving. It is all the divine energy which is taking care of this whole universe. Just imagine, am I making the planets move around the sun? Am I making the sun shine? Am I creating rains? You have to start thinking, are you really taking care of the whole nature? But nature is existing. So when there is a supreme power which is taking care of the whole universe, you mean to say some little things in your life, no, you have full control. You have a part to play. There is no doubt about it. But when you recognize the supreme presence of that infinite, now every action, whether it is an external act of taking, or whether it is an external act of giving, now you see it as a manifestation of God, of divinity. That is total selflessness. You become so inspired. And when you have that selfless attitude, that is when you're performing the highest yajna. Such a person, is constantly performing the highest yajna. It is called Brahma Yajna. Brahman. Brahma Yajna, the Brahman is a word for the infinite. We're not talking of Lord Brahma here. We're talking of Brahman in the neuter tense. That is another word which is used to represent that infinite. So, practically, you will have all these forces running in you. In certain areas you will be selfish, certain areas you will be unselfish, certain areas you will be selfless. See, sometimes, let's say you light a lamp in your puja room. In front of, you have a photograph of God. I'm not even getting into what God and who is God and all. Whatever be your concept of God. Now you light a lamp and you just bow down, without your knowledge for a split second, all your ego will go off and you will just get into that state of inspiration. That second, that is selflessness. All of you would have experienced that. Even while attending this session, initially you will say, okay, let me attend, let me gain the wisdom. There is an exchange of energy that is No doubt the ego has become refined. You're not trying to harm anyone. But that ego is, but suddenly you will get so engrossed in these principles, you will get into a state of inspiration. Every word which is told will be like, so divine to you. You'll be receiving the divine energy, and suddenly the master tells you, we'll close for today. Now you will say, oh, the session is over, is it? Why don't you extend it for some more time? That feeling will come. So what did you experience? It is a state of selflessness. Everyone experiences that. They fail to recognize that. When an artist is creating something, at the time of creation there is no ego. There cannot be any self-consciousness. He becomes one with that art, whether that art is in the form of drawing or sculpting or music, whatever it is, dance, or even a scientist who is working in the laboratory. When he gets into it in an intense way, at that moment there is no ego, no thought of me, myself and all that. And it is only in that egoless state that a masterpiece creation happens. All great creations, original creations, everything has happened because of selflessness only. A poet is writing poetry. As long as he is feeling I am writing, he will not be able to give out the best. But suddenly he gets inspired, the I goes away, then poetry flows from him. Those words will inspire you. So every one of you are already experiencing selflessness. You don't know what it is. You are not able to recognize it today. This is a great opportunity. When you gain the wisdom, then you understand. So all the three forces are running within you. Selfishness, unselfishness and selflessness. So you can take it up as a homework. Do a little bit of self-examination and see the best moments of your life. You will find it will be close to selflessness. The moments which you really, really cherish. Even in a physical act, sensual enjoyment, at the peak of that enjoyment you will lose your ego. That's why the very word ecstasy, what does it mean? Ecstasy means being in that high state of happiness, bliss, no? Ecstasy, if you go to the root, it means to stand out. When you stand out of your ego, as it were, that is when you experience ecstasy. Even in a sense enjoyment, you observe. At the peak of that pleasure or enjoyment, for 1 second, the ego will go away. Now, what a yogi does is, he captures that moment and through sadhana, he trains himself so that every moment becomes selfless. If a yogi talks, he'll talk in a selfless way, with full inspiration, with full bhav. That's why whenever a yogi says something, that will hit you, that will inspire you. If a yogi wishes someone, may your day be wonderful, now he will do it in a selfless way, because he is one with nature. If you go and give something to a yogi, now he will see the bhavana. Bhavana is good, okay. Now he will go through with that motion of accepting, receiving. But he will do that in a selfless way. When he is giving the wisdom, he will give it in a selfless way. If he is eating, he will eat in a selfless way. If he is interacting with people, he will do it in a selfless way. When he is in solitude, that will also be in a selfless way. Selfless means absolutely no ego. So momentarily when you lose your ego, if it can inspire you so much, if it can produce extraordinary works of creation, See, the artist at the time of creation, they will not have ego, but after they finish creating it, they may get back the ego and they say, I have only created it. But at that moment, there is no ego. All our scriptures, the Vedas, the Bhagavad Gita, all the scriptures have been given in that state, from that state of selflessness. These great masters had no ego of giving, no ego of taking. This is we can't even say hallmark of a master. This is the basic way in which a master functions. If this is not there, then such a person is not a true master. So you can take it up as a homework and start doing some self-examination. More than selflessness, it's better to start seeing what are the areas where are you highly selfish, where just I, me, myself, where are you thinking like that. Now those areas you start converting into unselfishness. If you find that you are neglecting your welfare somewhere, which is causing a lot of stress for you, which is not allowing you to function properly in life, then take care. There you need to pause and take care of yourself. Wherever you find that your self-care is going to that extreme where you're not bothered about others, there you start thinking about the welfare of others too. Where you find that you're thinking about harming others, thought level, emotional level, speech level, action level, there you have to convert that energy into unselfishness. It's for your own good. So you can start that sadhana. See, only if you get to that state of unselfishness, from there you can move to selflessness. Wherever you find you're very established in the state of unselfishness, you will still find that a certain amount of stress is there. Stress of giving, stress of taking. Oh, what will happen to that other person? All that, there you can apply selflessness. I can play my part, but the end result is not in my hand. That is the very karma yoga, Play your part well, do your action well, but understand that it's the higher power which is taking care of everything. I am only a spoke in the wheel of life. So all the great masters who radiated peace, who radiated unconditional love energy, who gave so much of healing to others, they never called themselves as healers and all that. Because it is only God who can heal. Even if you go and tell them, sir, you have done this, oh, you have done that. It's not an artificial way. Simply you just say, everything God, everything. Some people do like that, Verbally they just say. They have so much of ego within and they camouflage it and they try to get an image that they are spiritual by saying these words. It's not that I'm talking about. That can be easily seen through, the energy will not be so positive. I'm talking of a genuine vision of that infinite. So this is how you move in the spiritual path. The sadhana of parasparam has to be done very, very carefully in this way. Your daily yoga sankirtan sadhana will help you in this. If you do your sadhana on a daily basis, now you're exposing yourself to the higher vibrations. So wherever you're selfish, it'll get converted to unselfishness. Wherever you're unselfish, that'll get converted to selflessness. You become well prepared to get to that state of enlightenment, to the state of sthita prajna. So, parasparam bhavayantah, nourishing each other. What an inspiring phrase this is, just that part, parasparam. And then he adds bhavayantah. See, the bhavana is the key, no? The whole selfishness, unselfishness, selflessness is based on bhavana only, not the external act of giving and taking. Some people, they will say, I am doing a lot of charity, but they will have some other motive. I will give now so that I'll get back that this and I will utilize it at some point of time. Then it becomes selfishness only. It's not lack of ego. So we are not talking about external acts here, we are talking about bhavana. That's why it says parasparam bhavayantah. Actually, with this understanding, if you just read these original phrases, it really, really inspires you. Devan bhavayatanena te deva bhavayantuha. May you nourish the gods by this. May the gods nourish you. Parasparam bhavayantah. Let me think of my welfare and the welfare of others, but not with ego. It is all the leela or the play of divinity. That is that real parasparam bhavayantah. So go on increasing the quality of your bhavana from selfishness to unselfishness, from unselfishness to selflessness. You will see a tremendous difference in your life. So if you say, I am a good person, but I am suffering, that is because you will not be taking care of yourself. Self-defense is not wrong, it is required. Here I am not talking of mere external self-defense in terms of martial art. I am saying in life itself. Self-defense is a part of self-care, no? So this question is asked, why is it that I am so good, I am trying to do good, but still I am suffering. People are, troubling me. That is because there is no self-care. The law of karma is meticulous. So just by using that one word para, and then he has structured it in that way, brilliantly. Parasparam means paraha paraha. Param is another version of para, as an object he is using there. Like you have no subject, object, so many things. So that's another declension. So actual word is paraha. So he has used the word two times, paraha paraha, and he has joined both of them. That gives this deep sadhana principle, the very principle of yajna itself is given. See the genius of these great masters, It's simply amazing. And then after saying paraha, which means selfishness, unselfishness and selflessness, everything is included in that. Then he just quickly moves on to the ultimate purpose. He says Shreyaha Param Avapsyatah. So Param Shreyaha. He is continuing with that. If you go into the depth of this phrase parasparam, then you are ready for the highest experience. So he is using the same word paraha. And he says, Param Shreya. See, in Sanskritam, Shreya Param, Param Shreya all mean same only. Ramaha Gacchati means Rama goes. Gacchati Ramaha, that is also same. You can interchange and put it. So there's a lot of scope for poetry that, so much is there. You can literally play about with it. So, if you catch that energy of that phrase parasparam, then you will automatically get into the deeper aspects of the next part. That is, param shreya avapsyata. He nourishing each other, shall you obtain the highest good. You will understand the real meaning of param shreya when you absorb that energy of parasparam. It's been structured so beautifully. It's only the yogic approach which can take you through that energy flow. Otherwise, you will say parasparam bhavayanta. Now come on, work for the welfare of each other, and through that the highest good, and you will go to the next verse. It's not that. If you want to get the maximum benefits, you should learn to flow with the energy pattern which he is setting. That's possible only in the yogic approach. So, parasparam bhavayantaha. If you go on practicing that, what will happen? Shreyaha paramavapsyatha. When we split it up, param shreyaha avapsyatha. You will get the highest good. Here in this context, param shreyaha, param means highest, because that's a very development. So when you move to that stage of selflessness, what happens? You are constantly seeing divinity. You are constantly experiencing divinity. Your mind is attuned to the divinity or infinite. So then what will you get? If that is what you are giving, what you will get is param shreya. That is the highest yajna. Self-realization or God-realization is the highest yajna. That is why I said it is Brahma yajna. What are the other types of yajna? We'll see. If the context comes, we'll definitely look into that also. So, param shreya avapsyata. You shall obtain the highest experience, which is called enlightenment, God realization, self realization. Such a person is called a sthita prajna. I am using various words which are generally used in the scriptures, which are used by in many places, so that you understand. It doesn't matter what word is used. What is that? What is it referring to? That is what we are interested in. So, if you want to obtain the highest, which is infinite, what should you do? You should start practicing the sadhana of parasparam. So, he is deliberately saying param shreya. See, in the first line, he said devan bhavayatha anena te deva bhavayantuha. He used the word gods. Now go on nourishing the gods, means the divine nature within you. Now we saw the deeper meaning of devaha from a sadhana perspective. That is on one hand. Now, I told you, there are different gradation of gods, depending on how much the divinity is manifest, how divine a person is. To that extent, that person is a god. So, if you take the devas, they are also gods. Devas mean like Indra. That's how it's been portrayed very beautifully. Different grades. Then if you take Mahavishnu, Mahashiva, Mahashakti, Lord Muruga, Lord Ganapati, Hanuman. Now, just a few I'm giving. Now, all of them, full manifestation of divinity. That's why they open the doors for the ultimate moksha, ultimate liberation. So, when we talk of various gods, now the question comes, who is the God of all gods? Devan, in plural we are saying. But who is the ultimate God of all gods? That is the infinite, formless, supreme reality. That ultimate God has no form. Cannot have a form, because the moment you say there is a form, there is a restriction, there is a boundary, there is a beginning, there is an end. You take any object, the form defines the boundary. Outside that boundary, it will not exist. That is why that form itself is there. But the moment we talk of Ananta, infinite, there is no form. It cannot have any form. So that formless reality. So when it comes to the highest alone, he is deliberately not using the word Devaha. Just to say that it is beyond what you conceive as God and all that. It's very interesting. The same verse can be written like this also, no? Parasparam bhavayantaha. Instead of saying param shreyaha, you can say param devaha. May you nourish the God, may the God nourish you. Nourishing each other, you shall obtain the highest God. He is deliberately not using the word Devaha there. Instead, he is bringing in this word called Shreyaha. Shreyaha means good. Very, very subtle what he is doing. He is taking your mind away from everything which you know. See, when we come to, I will go into the depth of that word Shreya, you will understand. We are translating it as good, but Shreya actually means good. It means better. It means best also. Yes, they pick up such words which convey so much actually. So we'll come to that. But first of all, I want you to recognize this in this verse. It looks like he has moved away from the pattern which he has set. Devaha, Devaha, Deva is using, and suddenly when it comes to the highest experience, he says, Param Shreyaha. Again, he'll be coming back to the gods from a practical point of view. So, whatever you conceive as God or infinite will have to be limited, because you are in a limited state of consciousness. When you are finite, how can you conceive the infinite? Whatever you conceive will be finite only. No? So by doing that, by using the word Param Shreyaha, he is actually taking your mind away from all forms, whatever it is that you have conceived, and he leaves you there in total silence. If you can feel the energy of this, you will become very, very inspired. Parasparam bhavayantaha shreyaha param avapsyata. You obtain. So that experience can be obtained. You cannot put effort there. So you put effort till the last point, but that final experience is an effortless stage. That is what some masters called it as the higher grace that comes to you. There also there is no ego, no. Avapsyata means you will obtain it, you will get it. You cannot reach it. Sometimes we use the word reaching just for in our communication, but if you go into the depth of it, reaching means now the emphasis is on you. You are reaching, you are obtaining it. All ego is smashed. So, If you just read this verse with the flow, if from selfishness you will you will get into unselfishness. Wherever you are unselfish, it will become selflessness. Your ego will all go away. Finally, the ego will be fully smashed, and you will obtain. We can use the word you will obtain. You will obtain the highest experience of self-realization. That's why I'm saying, no, it is not the length that matters. The depth is what matters. Even one verse is enough. Actually, one word itself is enough. Just that word paraha is enough. Parasparam, twice, it's more than enough. But our capacity to penetrate has become very less. That's why we require all this. It has been mentioned in Kali Yuga, the intellect's capacity to penetrate, understand things in a deep way, all that will start reducing, which we are seeing now. This is only the beginning of Kali Yuga. Only some 5,000 and odd years have passed. Millions of years are there. So we can't even imagine that. So that highest state is possible only if you follow the principle of yajna in a systematic way. So he has given you the path from a relative level. He has also given you what the highest goal is. Param Shreya, the highest good. So we'll stop with that here. Next, in the next session, we will see the deeper meaning of Shreya. And also, Avapsyata has a very interesting depth. It actually gives you a very subtle sadhana. We will see that also. Very, very interesting. And then, of course, we will continue to the other verses. The next verse and then the verse after that and all is going to expand this parasparam, that is the principle of parasparam. I was telling you, the energy, the exchange of energy. That is going to be dealt with in a very practical way. How should you practically function? All those guidelines will be given in the coming verses. Okay, so before we do the Nididhyasana meditation, I'll take up one question. So this question has been put in the YouTube comment section. Dear Yogishri, Pranam, I'm putting a question in a separate comment. I typed the following point, post today's session. But when I think deeper, I get more questions. This was put a few weeks back. So in one of the sessions, I talked about wealth, So he's referring to that. One should see wealth as an enabler to fulfill duties. It is a manifestation of infinite Goddess Lakshmi. There is no harm in accumulating wealth in a righteous way. This was what was told. So now we'll come to the question. My question is, even if I acquire wealth in a righteous way, how do I differentiate between craving? There is craving versus Goddess Lakshmi aspect in this process. It's a very interesting question. I feel a lot of energy gets wasted thinking about money and wealth. How to qualify the goal of acquiring wealth? While we may know current duties, but it's very difficult to guess need of wealth for future duties. Kindly suggest. So, you said I have one question, but so many questions are embedded there. I'll give an insight into this, but you don't need to worry, because in December we are going to have the empowerment, attracting abundance, where we are going to invoke the Shri Shakti, the energy of abundance. That empowerment is going to be given, multiple empowerments are going to be given, and once you absorb that, it will have a tremendous impact in your life. Abundance will start flowing into your life from all quarters. So at that time, we'll be dealing with all this in a very deep way. All these questions will be answered. Anyway, today I'll brief you, but this will not be exhaustive. So we are going to do that exhaustively in that 22 days. So you have taken note of that one point, wealth is required to fulfill your duties. But there are so many other uses or utilities of wealth that also we'll be seeing. So it is not restrictive. It's only for duties I require wealth. It's not like that. Actually, it's very interesting. Attracting abundance is required even for spiritual growth. Shri doesn't mean mere money or wealth alone. Shri represents, Goddess Lakshmi represents the energy of abundance. Only if you invoke that, you will have the spiritual experiences in an abundant way. This is what I am telling you. In the 22 days, we will be dealing with abundance in totality. You are equating it only to external wealth, money and all that. Now, you are referring to that point where there is nothing wrong in acquiring wealth in a dharmic way. Yes, that was mentioned. But you are saying a lot of time is being wasted in thinking about wealth. And how do we know whether it's craving or Goddess Lakshmi? And how to determine how much of wealth I require for future duties. So many things you are asking. Now, I'm not going to get into the specifics of everything, because all that we'll anyway be covering in the empowerment. But there is one thing which needs to be addressed here. That is, in and through all this, there is a deep feeling that wealth is not spiritual. Even though now you are not saying that openly, somewhere deep within that is there. Now, nowhere in our scriptures have they said that. As you rightly say, craving, yes, they have said don't have craving for wealth. So, masters have always said be a master of wealth. Don't become a slave. That's what they said. So, the whole attracting abundance empowerment program is to remove that slavishness and become divine. So somewhere deep within that feeling is that actually we are going to spend several sessions in that empowerment program to remove these blocks about wealth. In the name of spirituality, people have gotten into wrong concepts. Many people think if you are rich, you cannot be spiritual. That is wrong. Where there is Vishnu, there will be Goddess Lakshmi. The Shakti, see, wealth is another form of Shakti. So you have said lot of time is being wasted. Why are you considering as a waste of time? That is your sadhana. See, what is wealth used for? Wealth is used to exchange. See, you acquire wealth and then you exchange it for something else. It may be sense objects. It may be to buy some books. I'm simply giving some examples. It may be to get some spiritual wisdom. Whatever it is, you're exchanging the wealth. Wealth here means, I mean money, So the money part you're exchanging. Now, if you're wanting all that for which you need to exchange, which you get when you exchange money, now then earning money is not a waste of time. See, something is a waste of time only if you are not wanting the result of that. Please understand this. With money, you're doing so many things. Now, all those things are required by you. Then money is no longer a waste of time, earning money. Why do you think that my energy is getting wasted in that? Actually, your energy is getting directed properly, no? So, see, you should learn to become very frank and simple. This is what I want in my life. Let me manifest all that. Let me take the higher grace. Let me manifest. Let me do good to myself. Let me do good to others. Simple. Oh, is this a waste of time? Okay, supposing you get that time. What are you going to do in that time? Are you going to think about Brahman? If you are at that level, then you don't require any of this. So that point is what I want you to examine. If you are going to go about earning wealth with the feeling that, oh, this is the way I'm wasting my time, then you first of all happiness will go away from your life. You will not enjoy the process at all. So when you are saying it's a waste of time, what actually your meaning is, I want what wealth will give, the effect I want, but I don't want to put an effort to gain wealth. It is actually a manifestation of tamas. See, everybody has tamas, rajas, sattva, no? So sometimes tamas can come in this way. So don't encourage that. Nip it in the bud. Take the very exercise, putting that effort to earn wealth as a sadhana. Because that is going to, as you yourself said, that's going to help you to fulfill your duties. With wealth, what else can you do? How to use it in a spiritual way? That will be seen in the empowerment program. But even this parasparam you take, taking care of yourself and taking care of others, for that you require wealth. If you have surplus wealth, you can do so much good, to society. So take it that way. Then that exercise of earning or thinking will not be a waste of time. Rather, it will become very inspiring for you. What is interesting is, see, in that empowerment of attracting abundance, we are not only going to talk about how to deal with wealth and all that. That very exercise, if you do it in a spiritual way, that will give you spiritual growth. It's not about earning money externally. It is about building those qualities within you, which will attract abundance. Those qualities will expand your consciousness and give you the experience of infinite also. That is what our yogis are really interested in. So, my genuine request is, come out of all these conditionings that money is wrong. Nowhere in the scriptures it is said. They have only said earning money in an adharmic way is wrong. And anyway, I'll spend minimum 3 to 4 sessions in removing all these blocks. This is one kind of block. You have many kind of blocks, especially people who are in the spiritual field, putting it in quotes. They have all kinds of wrong beliefs. And then you say, oh, even though I'm a devotee of God, I'm suffering. Selfish people, they are prospering. Because you are repelling abundance from your life by thinking it is wrong. Or it is a waste of time and effort. No. See, what is being taught every Sunday? Every aspect of life should become divine. Work is worship. Why should you consider it as a waste of time? So, that is, if you solve that fundamental, if you get those fundamentals right, then the other things are not so difficult. If you are not able to project and understand what are all going to be my future duties, then create a surplus, no? That's all, very simple. That is what I'm saying, and that's why we're using the word abundance. Shri means actually abundance. How to attract that energy of abundance, creating that surplus in life. So once that abundance energy is invoked, you can use it to achieve your material goals. You can also use it to achieve your spiritual goals. So this has been beautifully symbolized. Vishnu and Lakshmi go as a pair. Vishnu without Lakshmi will lose all his glory, charm, everything. They're always united. It's a beautiful principle which they are giving. Okay? So I have not actually gone into very specifics and answered your question, but I've given some points which you need to reflect upon. It's better you do that, because when you come for that empowerment program, the lesser blocks you have, you'll be able to absorb the energy in a very simple way. Okay, so now we'll do Nididhyasana, meditation. Gently close your eyes. Do deep breathing. With every breath, I am becoming more and more relaxed. Feel the divine vibrations. With every breath, I'm going deeper and deeper into myself. Beyond this physical body, beyond these pranas, beyond these various emotions and thoughts, lies my true, essential, higher self. My higher self is infinite and divine. I choose to absorb the principle of exchange of energy into my life. I choose to practice the sadhana of parasparam, mutual benefit. I am Swayam Prakashit, self-illuminating. Offer your gratitude to God Supreme. Offer your gratitude to your Guru and all the holy masters. Slowly come back. Wriggle your fingers, your toes. Rub your palms together to create a warmth. Cup your eyes with your palms. Gently rub your eyes, cheeks, forehead, top of the head, back of the head and neck. Slowly open your eyes. Welcome back. It's a very deep session we have had today. The deeper principles of spiritual growth, the deeper sadhana principles were given to you. So make use of them to examine your life and practice them and lift yourself. Week after week, this entire wisdom is being given to you in a systematic way. Start making use of them. So as far as the coming events are concerned, November 10th, we are having the powerful launch of Sri Hanumat Dhyana. November 17th will be the online telecast. Many people have already started getting releases when they saw the promo video. Just less than a minute, I think so, no? So already the healing energy is has started. It is being given to you. Every Nididhyasana session is a preparation. for the Yoga Sankirtan release and for the empowerment. Those those sessions which we are having, that is the Nididhyasana sessions, they not only by themselves give you many benefits, but we are also getting prepared for the blast of energy during the Yoga Sankirtan release and the 22-day empowerment course. So do your sadhana on a daily basis. Start writing down your goals from now itself. All that is bound to materialize. So much of energy is going to be given in the 22-day empowerment. Okay? So thank you very much. I'll see you in the next session. Hari Om.